one factor short we need
Thank you.
Could you please invite Mr. Arun and Raja Patel?
All of them come right. You're right.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, I'm good. Yes.
What do you want? Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
वो एक ही पॉइंट है
Please call Rashmi Mansa.
Yeah, Mr. Ayaz Menon also, please.
Mr. Ayaz Menon, please.
Please, sir. One little on the stage, please, sir.
I think this photo thing is like marriage, no? First all afar, then you all become close. Then divorce card comes and then you all just separate out. So now we are far. Yeah. Now we are close. Thank you.
He's got the best smile from everyone. All that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, once again, good evening everyone, and welcome to the event. I'm Nikki, and our special thanks to the guest of honor. We are here on a momentous occasion, not just to launch an app, but also be a part of history. And history because this is an absolute first for us in India. An app that enables instant, affordable legal solutions. And I'm going to go on a whim here and say, for somebody who's been through something like this, it would have worked for me when I needed it. So, without further ado, I'm going to call upon Vandana Shah, Advocate Vandana Shah. So Advocate Vandana Shah is an award-winning divorce lawyer. I'm sure you all know that. Author, columnist, and social entrepreneur on whom the BBC has made a documentary, Invisible Women of India. She is also the author of the bestseller X-Files. The Story of My Divorce, published by Penguin, which has been launched by the then Honorable Attorney General of India, Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, and the then Honorable Chief Justice of Mumbai High Court, Mr. Mohit Shah. It has been endorsed by Lord Meghnad Desai, Padma Vibhushan Sonal Mansingh, and it looks at divorce through a humorous lens. X-Files is now a part of the Judicial College syllabus. Her work as a social entrepreneur, where she set up India's first support group, 360 Degrees Back to Life, has been lauded by Gloria Steinem, the world's foremost feminist, who has endorsed her previous book. She has also translated a book written by the Jain saints. Her work has been lauded both by the national as well as international media. She has been a panelist frequently on BBC, NDTV, amongst others, and at various literary festivals. Current
Okay. Hi, good evening everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. And I just want to share my journey of Divorcekart with you. You know, why Divorcekart? You've heard a little bit about me from my friend here, but why Divorcekart and what are we looking at today? Essentially, my journey with Divorcekart started about over a decade ago, where I was going through a bad divorce and I didn't know what to do. I restarted my life with 750 rupees and literally just the clothes on my back. I have a few of my old neighbors who are sitting in the audience. So they've seen me through that journey when I restarted my life. So what happens when you have nowhere to go and you don't know what to do? Your first thought when you're going through a divorce or any other legal problem is that you really need to take charge of your life. And unfortunately, at that point of time, your life is controlled by your lawyer. So, I have a few litigants who are sitting here. I'm not going to ask them to raise their hands. But, essentially, your lawyer becomes your new family. But, you are not the only member of that lawyer's family. Because, at the end of the day, the lawyer has their job to do. They all have not only one case, they have maybe 50 cases, 60 cases, maybe hundreds of other cases. So you are their priority, but not always their top priority. So what happens in such a situation? That's when the idea of Divorcekart came to me, keeping in mind the new digital revolution that we are looking at. So what do I bring to Divorcekart? I bring to Divorcekart three things. It is instant, it is affordable. Like I said, when I started my journey with only 750 rupees and started rebuilding my life, I didn't have money really to consult a lawyer. I mentioned in my book, X-Files, that the first thing I did was sell my Mangal Sutra to go and pay the lawyer. Now, if I had had Divorcekart, I don't think I would have had to do that. So you need an affordable lawyer. You need a lawyer 24/7. What starts happening, like I was discussing with Rashmi, it's at 1:32 in the morning that you start thinking that something is going wrong. I don't know what to do. Should I call up my lawyer? But you know it, that you can't call your lawyer at 2 a.m. in the morning. You'll probably call a friend of yours like I did. I used to call a friend of mine called Sid all the time, all the time, all the time. And all he did at that stage was essentially offer me a lot of emotional solace. But he could not give to me a legal solution. So, for example, if I had my case the next day, I needed to know whether I need to be present in the case. What is going to happen on that date? Is it even important for me to be present for that case? That is where something like Divorcekart will change the way that we view lawyers. It will change the way that we look at legal problems. It will change the way that we look at legal solutions. Because you don't have to wait to contact your lawyer. It is 24/7. You can get in touch with that lawyer even at 2 a.m. in the morning. You can even get in touch with that lawyer at 6 a.m. in the morning. And you know what's the best part? When I was going through a divorce, initially I didn't want anyone to know that I'm going through a divorce. So what do? No, I'm separated. No, he's gone out of town. I mentioned that in my book, that when I got a job with one of the multinationals, I just said, well, my husband is back home in India. But that was a lie. You know, that's how you deal with divorce at the workplace, so you lie. So what does this app also do? It also gives you anonymity when you are going through a divorce. No one is going to tout and shout from the rooftops that, look here, I am going through a divorce, or I am going through a personal problem, but I will stick only to divorce at this stage. So this app gives you anonymity. This app provides you confidentiality. It is instant. It is 24/7. And the best part is, at least for the trial stage, we are running it for free for the first 3 months. litigant. And 16 years later, I stand before you all on 22nd November 2017, launching Divorcekart, the app. I do expect that I will have your support. I'm sure that you all will carry the word around, and anyone who needs us will get in touch with us. Thank you. I just want to share one final, it's a weekday, people may not come, don't do it in the evening, choose another day, go closer to the weekend. I said, no, it's my father's 29th death anniversary. I must honor him and let him know that his education has not gone waste. So, thank you very much.
I'm just kind of lost for words right now. I think that's absolutely fabulous, Vandana, absolutely. So, well, on that note, I'm going to call on our next speaker with his name. And if you haven't, then you haven't laughed. So, Ranvir Shorey, born to a Hindi film producer's home. He grew up on the fringes of the Mumbai film industry with a diploma in film and video production from St. Xavier's Institute of Communication. He started his career in television as a VJ on the immensely popular Channel V. Yes, I watched it. He was one of the lead actors of the very successful stand-up and sketch comedy TV show, The Great Indian Comedy Show on Star TV. He was also the co-host of the successful talk show, and we can never forget the Jodi, Ranveer Vinay Orpon. And of course, he has a huge list, a long list of career in the film industry. He started his career with Manisha Koirala in the movie Ek Choti Si Love Story. I have to, because, people need to know. And he's done a whole host of movies. Some of them we've enjoyed immensely. Some of them that have received accolades in the industry. Some like Khosla Ka Ghosla being one of them. And so Ranvir Shorey, talented, versatile actor. I want to take the mic with us.
Say a few words.
You can say nice words.
Really nice words. I'm very happy to be here, and Vandana told me about Divorcekart and that she wanted me to be here today. I thought not only is it a great idea to have this app in India, which I'll come to later why, but first I want to tell you guys what Vandana did for me. So I am on a flight to a Lit Fest somewhere in the north, and randomly I have a lady sitting one seat away from me. And I don't know what prompted me to start a conversation with her. And of course, by now, I think everybody knows the lady that I'm talking about. And I was in the middle of my separation at the time. And I was so lost, I cannot tell you, because I think in India, especially why this app is important is because in India, the focus, the weight of marriage, I think starts when you're quite young, It's like one of the life goals that you're supposed to achieve, and when that doesn't work out, the associated feelings of failure and of dejection, and I don't know how many other negative emotions I can attach to that. You have to go through it to understand. And I was going through all that, and I don't know. It was almost destiny and fate. I feel that I met Vandana, and we struck up this wonderful conversation. And since then, we've just grown better friends, from week to week, whenever we meet. And for me, I was lucky because along with the emotional support of a friend, she was also, a hotshot divorce lawyer, so I got a lot of free advice as well. But these two things I wanted to say, that one, today, gender roles are changing tremendously. And so I think it's great. It's a great idea to have this application to be able to help you when you need it the most. And frankly, Vandana, I think you also said you talk to friends. I also talk to friends. Friends don't always end up giving you the best advice. I mean, they mean well, but finally, when it comes to the crunch, when push comes to shove, I don't think friends will give you the best advice. It's better to have somebody who's more informed to give you advice. why this app, and then I told you why India. Because I think in India, more than anything, people who go through separation and divorce need all the help, I feel. Because like I said, in India, it's just a big deal. So, good going, Vandana, and I'm very happy that you're doing this. I'll be signing up for sure, even after 3 months.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Ranvir. And I'd like to call upon our next guest, who I'm very proud of.
So what happens is a lot of times, you see the movies that we refer to are Hollywood movies. So a lot of times the clients come and ask me, but will they ask my child to come in court and say choose between these two, because that is the most iconic sequence from Kramer versus Kramer. So we have nothing which gives us a point of reference in India. And I don't think that's going to change very soon, but probably the web will change the way divorce is perceived, the way legal situations are perceived. And I keep saying that, now legal is the way ahead. Sorry, not because I'm only a lawyer, but whether it is banning a movie, Padmavati, or Deepika Padukone's unibrow, whether she's having an affair or she's not having an affair, everything you are approaching the court. So as the court and judiciary gain more prominence, I think that's when all these stories which revolve inside judiciary will start getting made, and I think the web will change the way things are perceived. I'm not looking at larger screens to go ahead and do that, but the web will bring about the change. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree with you. Vandana, I just want to ask a question as a lawyer on the legal side. Some changes have been expected, right? Yeah, I mean various laws which are not in sync with the current time. So do you see that changing?
Yeah, I should hope so. So about 3 months ago, I was speaking with the NCW, which is National Commission for Women, and discussing with them what about prenuptial agreements in India. Let's get real, divorce is happening. Like I said that, 10 years ago we were looking at divorce as 1 in 1,000. 10 years later, are low, but see the number of times, that's a 13 times growth in 10 years. So we are making a new family court in Mumbai, which is going to be 14 floors. We already have a new family court in Pune, which has just happened about 3 months ago. So earlier it used to function out of 2 floors, just in one, as part of a college. Now that became insufficient. They constructed a new one. So your unofficial statistics show that divorce is happening. People don't want to believe that it is marriage will last for a lifetime. Earlier we used to say 7 janmo ka saath hai. Nowadays 7 janmo ka saath no hoega, but not with the same spouse. So I see it day in and day out of reducing the waiting period when you are going through mutual consent divorce. Recently we were discussing this and it's come in the news. But unfortunately that reduction in the waiting period again comes with its own riders attached. So if you've been in court for, let's say, more than 2 years, only then your mutual consent, a 6-month waiting period can be waived after, let's say you apply on 20th January. You will still have to wait for another 6 months unless you can convince the court that no, I don't need this waiting period because it is intolerable to stay. You go to lodge a complaint in the police station, they always say, Miya Biwi ka matter hai, aap sort out kar lena. Kyun complaint likhwa rahe ho? So that's the second change I think will come about because people are now impatient. Be the time taken into consideration. There should be the number of years you spend as a couple. There should be your liabilities so that it doesn't happen that, women are accused of misusing the law a number of times, which has happened with 498A and the Domestic Violence Act. But to prevent that abuse, we should, this law, the third... Okay.
You want to sign up?
Sunil is not going to sign up.
I'm too eager.
All right.
Where's the other? Where's the?
So we Hasni?
Yeah, just from the rest of it.
Okay. Ranvir, which side are you coming? Aruna ma'am?
I'll come on that side, you stay.
Okay.
This is the main door.
Okay. Kashmi?
Yes.
That's why I came.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready, guys?
Yes.
Here we go.
Yep.
Not taking the same one.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So are you gonna
Physically show
Yeah.
it.
So before we actually open the floor to any questions, I'm actually going to call upon stage Monica Raheja, who herself is a litigant and is going through a messy divorce. She's educated, qualified, a professional, but she'd like to share her experience and show you what it's like to use the app. Over to you, Monica.
Can I get my phone?
Yeah.
Do you need the mic, Monica?
Is it gonna show up here?
Yeah, it's showing right now actually. So when I opened the app, I went into chat with your lawyer, and I'm looking at know your laws right now. If you just go through that, you can see the Hindu Marriage Act. There is a Parsi Marriage Act. You know, everything in that. There's a Foreign Marriage Act as well in there. So this actually gives us the entire information.
Absolutely.
So if I want to read up as to what are my rights, I can just go through that and read up.
That's right.
I'm clicking on chat with the lawyer. Do I get to chat with you?
Yes, you get to chat with me.
Excellent. Yo, what's up? Okay. So it's welcoming me right now. And let me
Going to be answering your queries 24/7. So that is what a lawyer's admin panel would look like. So I had filmed it earlier to show what it would look like because it would be difficult to explain on the phone over there. So the minute a litigant asks me a question or any of the lawyers present there, they ask them a question, I get to answer that question.
What is whisper?
Whisper is, so it comes in smaller letters.
I thought you were going to whisper that.
No. So that's how basically the app is going to work. And I just want to share a couple of words about Monica. Monica's, I'm really thankful to her for coming on stage because like we discussed here, you know, people are so apprehensive of talking about going through a divorce. People are so reluctant and there's press over here today. They will understand what it is to go through a divorce, to get a litigant to actually come on stage. It is an... I think she's really brave to do that, and I'm really thankful to her. And you know, I really hope I can win her case for her. You know, and I think I will. Monica told me today that my clipping has come in, who is on the opposite side, so we are hoping for a bigger settlement.